Today, we're diving into one of history's most powerful stories. It's about a kingdom at war with itself, a bitter conflict between a father and a son. This is a story about the collision of love and duty and the heartbreaking tragedy of Absalom.
And it all really boils down to this one almost impossible question. What do you do? What happens when a king, the leader of a nation, has to go to war against his very own son?
Before a single soldier marches out, King David pulls his generals aside, and he doesn't give them a military strategy. He gives them a father's plea. He says, "Be gentle with the young man Absalom for my sake." Right there, you see the whole conflict. He's a king who needs to win a war, but he's also a father who is terrified of losing his boy.
And that one request, be gentle, it just hangs over everything that's about to happen. It's the perfect place to start our story with a father's desperate plea.
So let's look at the board. The whole kingdom is split right down the middle. On David's side, you've got his old guard, his seasoned, loyal generals, Joab, Abishai, Ittai. And on the other side, the rebels, led by Absalom, who has his own commander, Amasa. The battle lines are drawn, and this is a true civil war.
Now, David, he wants to be out there, leading his men, but they won't let him. They tell him straight up, "You are worth 10,000 of us." They know Absalom's rebellion is all about taking him down. If he falls, it's all over. So the king has to stay behind, waiting at the city gates, totally powerless, just waiting for news about a battle against his own son.
So the king is safe, and the battle is on. But as it turns out, the armies aren't the only things fighting that day. The battlefield itself, the very ground they're on, is about to play a huge, deadly role, which brings us to the Forest of Fate.
And the cost of this battle is just staggering. In a single day, in the Forest of Ephraim, 20,000 men are killed. 20,000. It's a number that just shows you how incredibly brutal this family feud had become.
And here's the thing, it wasn't just the fighting. The terrain was so treacherous, so dangerous, that the text gives us this chilling line. The forest swallowed up more men that day than the sword. Think about that. Men were getting lost, falling into ravines, trapped by the wilderness. The forest itself was a weapon.
And then, in the middle of all this fighting and chaos, something almost bizarre happens. Absalom's downfall isn't a heroic last stand, it's a freak accident. He's riding his mule and he goes under a big oak tree. His famous, long hair, the very symbol of his pride and vanity, gets caught in the branches. The mule just keeps on going, and suddenly, there he is, the leader of the rebellion, hanging helpless in the middle of the air.
So, Absalom is trapped. He's completely vulnerable, and what happens next is the real turning point of this story. It's a moment of pure defiance against a king's direct order. This is a general's defiance.
And check this out. A regular soldier finds him first. He sees Absalom just hanging there, an easy target, and what does he do? He runs and tells his commander, General Joab. Joab is like, "Why didn't you just kill him? I would have given you a reward." But the soldier's response is amazing. He says, "No way. In our hearing, the king commanded, 'Protect the young man Absalom for my sake.'" This guy heard his king's order, and he was going to follow it, period. But General Joab, he's different. He's a pragmatist. He sees the entire rebellion, the source of all this bloodshed, hanging from a tree. He looks at this loyal soldier and basically says, "I'm not going to wait like this for you." To Joab, this isn't about family drama. It's about ending a war right here, right now. And right here, you see the two sides of this story laid bare. You have the king's command, which came from love, "Be gentle with the young man." And then you have the general's action, which came from cold, hard strategy. He took 3 javelins and plunged them into Absalom's heart. It's love versus duty, and in that moment, duty wins in the most brutal way you can imagine.
And Joab doesn't even stop there. To make absolutely sure the threat is neutralized for good, he has his 10 armor-bearers surround Absalom, and they all strike him again and again until he's dead. It's a violent, brutal, and very, very final end to the rebellion. So, Absalom is dead. The war is pretty much over. But now a whole new kind of drama begins. Someone has to tell the king, and this kicks off a tense, frantic race to the king.
So you've got 2 runners. The first is a guy named Ahimaaz. He's eager, he wants to be the one to bring the news of victory. But Joab, he's smart. He knows this isn't good news for David, so he sends another messenger, a Cushite, specifically telling him the king's son is dead. He's trying to manage this awful piece of information.
So picture it. You're David,
You're waiting at the city gates, just staring out at the horizon. And then the watchman up on the wall shouts down. He sees something, a single person running alone.
And what's David's immediate reaction? It's pure hope. He hears it's one man, and he says, if he is alone, he must have good news. See, in his mind, one runner means victory. A group of runners might mean a retreat. He is desperately clinging to any sign that things went okay.
The first runner, Ahimaaz, finally gets there, breathless. He shouts out the news of the victory. The Lord has delivered you. But David just cuts right through all of that. He has only one question, the only one that matters to him. Is the young man Absalom safe?
And Ahimaaz he can't do it. He can't be the guy who breaks his king's heart. So he dodges the question. He says, I saw a lot of confusion, a big commotion, but I don't really know what happened. He delivers the military update, but he completely fails to deliver the one piece of news the king is actually waiting for. Just then, the second runner, the Cushite, arrives, and again, David asks the exact same question, and you can just hear the desperation in his voice. Is the young man Absalom safe?
Now this messenger understands the assignment. He knows he can't lie, but he also knows saying it plainly would be brutal. So he gives this incredibly crafted but absolutely devastating reply. May the enemies of my lord the king be like that young man. He never even says Absalom's name. He doesn't have to. The message is crystal clear. He's gone.
And in that moment, the victory is meaningless. The celebration turns to dust. The king vanishes, and all that's left is a heartbroken father. This is the final act, his lament. "O my son Absalom."
And that's how the story ends. It's not with a victory parade. It's with a king utterly shattered, weeping as he walks away. And he cries out these words, "Oh, my son Absalom, my son Absalom, if only I had died instead of you." It's just this haunting cry of grief, a terrible reminder that sometimes winning can feel exactly like losing everything.